Now that we're getting to the coding part, I need to stress to absolutely use the GitHub repository or web3dev.education associated with this course. If you're on the GitHub repo right now and you scroll down to lesson 2, and this is going to look a little bit different when you come to it, you can click on the GitHub repo associated with this lesson. This will have all the code that we're actually going to be working with for this section, as well as a README section, which is going to have a lot of notes on how to actually work with the code. And instead of making issues and discussions on this repository here, if you have an issue, please use the discussions tab of the Foundry full course here, or use any of the areas that we've laid out in the questions section. We're going to teach you how to ask questions so that they have the highest probability of being answered by either somebody else in the community, by an AI, or by a forum. Additionally, please be sure to check out web3dev.education for more information as well. I highly recommend that you pause the video right now and make accounts for, first of all, GitHub, and then at least Stack Exchange Ethereum. Additionally, ChatGPT is a great resource to make an account for. Just remember that it will often get things wrong and isn't quite up to date. Find you don't need to make an account for, but it often gets things wrong sometimes as well. Typically for each coding section, I'll give you a brief rundown of what we're actually going to be building. And in this lesson, we're going to be building this exact smart contract, and we're going to be building your first smart contract ever, and we're going to deploy it to a blockchain. At the end of this section, you are going to have deployed your first smart contract ever. So be sure to get to the end so you can deploy your first smart contract. We're going to be using something called an IDE called Remix to deploy and interact and work with this smart contract, which is going to be very exciting. It's highly recommended to get the best experience out of this is for you to follow along and you to code with me. You can change my speed on the YouTube video if I'm coding too fast or I'm coding too slow. But you taking the time to write out the code as I code along with you is going to ingrain the knowledge into your brain. Repetition is the mother of skill, and I want to make sure you come out the other side with skill. To actually code this, we're going to be using a tool called Remix. You can either Google search it, or you can just come to the GitHub repo or web3dev.education and click this link to Remix, which will pop open the Remix web IDE. So let's go ahead, let's jump in, and let's learn to deploy our first smart contract. At the end of this lesson, you will have deployed your first smart contract. You'll have written your first bit of Solidity, and we are very excited to get through this